Uh, Aditya, you're the host. You can continue.
హాయ్ భార్గవి.
అండి.
వినిపిస్తుందా?
యాహ్!
ప్రాక్టీస్ చేశారా? కొంచెం గ్యాప్ వచ్చింది, మంచి గ్యాప్.
చేయలేదండి. విన్నాను. ఇంకా చేయలేదు.
చేయాలండి ప్రాక్టీస్. ప్రాక్టీస్ చేస్తేనే యూ విల్ హ్యావ్ దిస్ థింగ్స్. సర్లే. కొంచెం ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయండి, ఒక హాఫ్ అన్ అవర్
యాహ్!
అయినా
రేపు చేస్తానండి ఎలాగైనా. ఈ వీక్ నెక్స్ట్ వీక్ కల్లా చేసేస్తా.
ఇప్పుడు సెషన్స్ మనకి ఎక్కువ అవ్వలేదు కాబట్టి మీకు టైం వస్తుంది. మంచి
యాహ్!
బేసిక్ టాపిక్స్ చెప్పాను.
నెక్స్ట్ క్లాస్ కల్లా నేను చేస్తాను ఎలాగైనా.
షేరింగ్ స్క్రీన్. లాస్ట్ వీక్ we discussed about this tables, right?
ఎస్‌క్యూఎల్ ఏరియాస్
Tables
చెప్పారు.
update and insert on all these operations
ఇన్సర్ట్,
and
అప్డేట్, డిలీట్, మోడిఫై.
joins and all those things. No, tables, delete and all those things, those just topics are discussed in the last session, but last week we discussed about these joins and all those things.
హుహు.
I told you to practice on the outer join, left outer join.
యాహ్!
Good. Let's do today we'll start with the routines and subroutines, not the routines, subroutines and all those things. Okay.
ఓకే.
Actually, in the last session, I explained to you like, do you remember like local and global objects? Yeah, while discussing these points, I told you like what are local declarations and global declarations and all those things. I told you, right?
హుహు.
I didn't explain you clearly, but I told that I will explain you in the next session. Okay. So
ఓకే.
mainly subroutines. Let's say before going with subroutines, let's discuss about local and global declarations. Okay. Local declarations are something like say um, this table is there. This table is there, right? Let not this one.
హుహు.
This table is there. So may I know, since you have attended multiple sessions, now we should be having the basic idea. May I know how will you access this table data inside this report? Hmm?
హలో.
Yeah, for you only.
యాహ్! హుహు.
May I know how will you access this table data inside our custom report? You should be aware of it by now.
డేటా
Yeah, tell me. Table declaration. See like this. Okay. So
what is the table declaration? That is the data column, that
just,
one?
just a minute. Someone is at the door. Someone is at the door. Okay. Yeah, sorry. ఇది monkey, let's say, however, this table is there, right?
VBAC. Mm-hmm.
VBAC table. So since this is declared like this directly, that means we are assigning this particular table to our local work area. Okay.
Okay.
So this table, whatever is there, this is a global path. That means accessible in anywhere across the system. This table is a global table, or let's say standard table created by SAP, which represents a global, represents accessible in the globally across all the objects. Maybe you are creating a report, smart forms, Adobe forms, whatever is there. This table is something which SAP has created. So it has a global access. All you need to do is that just need to get the local reference of this table, and work on this local reference. We cannot work on the global things directly. These kind of things which are provided by SAP. Okay. For that purpose, what we need to do is that we need to create a local reference for that purpose and work on that local reference. Okay. Now, what is a global? Global is something which is accessible across the multiple objects, uh, maybe reports, interface, or whatever it is there. And what is local? Local is something which is created as a reference to the global one, which will be used only inside the object which we are working on. Let's say if you take the example of this work area underscore VBAC. Work area underscore VBAC. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is a local reference only for this report. This is a
Okay.
global reference which is available across the system. We can use this as a reference in anywhere we are doing the developments. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Local
Okay.
only for this report, global across the system.
Across the system.
Similarly, there is another concept where we have a global and local declaration inside the object itself. Got it, right? Where we have a global and local declarations inside the object itself. We spoke about some tables which are available across the system, but we will speak about something which represents as a local and global. Okay, local and global inside the custom report itself. Okay,
Okay.
let's say yeah, let's say we have this table. Okay, we have this particular select query. Okay, now the select query is there, right? Now what I have done? A simple report. I wrote a simple select query in this report itself. Simple select query in this report itself. But what I can do, I can move this select query to a subroutine. Subroutines are nothing but a smaller blocks which we will create in the custom report. For first thing, there are multiple options for the subroutine, like multiple scenarios why we create a subroutine. I'll tell you what is a subroutine. First thing, subroutine. Okay, first let me tell you about what is a subroutine. Then you will get an idea. Let's say I want to access the data from this table using this select option. Okay. What I wrote
Okay.
under startup selection, I directly wrote this particular select and all those things. But instead of like this, I can do one thing. I can create a perform. I can write a perform f underscore get underscore feedback. Okay. Now what we need a table. Let's say we need a table. Okay. Tables. This thing. Okay. What we have done, we created a routine, but there is no subroutine call for this one. Okay. So what we have to do, you can simply double click on it. See, subroutine does not exist. Do you want to create the object? Yes. Change, save before action. Yes. And it will ask you where do you want to save it, in a new include or the existing one. I'll choose the existing one. There is no option why. Okay, just save it. Just a minute. It's not allowing me. There are certain restrictions. So I'll do one thing. I'll create an include. I'll show you what is the use of include. You will understand what is the use of include also. Right. Okay. Now let's go with the subroutine. What allow me to create it. See, you saw this, right? Subroutine.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What I did, I simply wrote a routine, perform declaration of here, okay, which is nothing but which acts as a routine.
Okay. What is the purpose of a routine and subroutine?
Purpose of routine, subroutine is that, let's say, sometimes we have to write maybe 5,000 lines of code, 10 to 20,000 lines of code. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
at the time, what happens? If you keep on, see, there are multiple ways through which we can write the code. Okay. You can write the code simply by typing. You can even write 5,000 lines to 10,000 lines of code. Okay. But you understand, write, okay. Whenever you're writing an exam, let's say if you're going to any competitive exam, or in case even if while you wrote a board exams, whenever they ask you a question, will you keep on, let's say there is a theory for which maybe you have to write 3 pages answer. My question is, will you write that answer without any paras, without any full stop, without any modularization, without any bullet points, or without any point one, point two, or you will you keep some header title and you'll start right, segregate the topics, right? It's not like you will simply write a theory topic of 3 pages. Do you think like writing like that is readable to the reviewer, whoever is writing your exam? Can he understand what he wrote that much? Will he have patience in that bulk volume of data or bulk volume of papers for his correction? Do you think he will try to go through all your 3 to 4 pages of data?
No.
3 to 4 pages of your answers? No, right?
No.
So whenever you're trying to write an answer, what you will do, you will segregate that in the points. Let's say if you're writing an economical theory, if you have to write economic theory, what you will do, you will segregate that into a points, right? Small
Yeah.
point. First thing is that what about the state policy? That is a subheading. Under that you will write something. Next is the Telangana policy. Is something like that. You'll start writing something or the other on below another, right? So why you are doing that instead of write? Simple, because you want to present it and make it readable to the present whoever is reviewing it, so that it will be easy to understand, easy to modify, easy to correct. So similarly, subroutines or includes are something which an SAP has provided to increase the readability. One of the point which I'm telling you, there are multiple scenarios I'll tell you. To increase the readability of the objects or programs which you are writing. Let's say I want to get the header data. So what you can do, let's say maybe sometimes you have to fetch the header data from not only from VBAK, but there might be some multiple header tables. Okay. So for that purpose, what you can do, header data, you can simply say header data and you can fetch all the data at once inside this subroutine. Okay.
Okay.
So what I will do, what I will do, I'll just remove this select query over here. Okay.
Header data is a routine or
This is
subroutine?
a subroutine now. This
Okay.
this form and form is a subroutine for you. Okay. Now what I need to do, I need to populate this data into table. Simple. Okay. I'll activate. Just a minute. This is not the one. We need to pass table type objects. Structure. The structure for IT underscore VBAK is this one. Okay.
Okay.
Instead of interval table, you need to pass this structure. I need to declare table type. Right. Can use this. Some declarations and all those things, right? You will get it out during the practice. Okay. Okay, now you see it's activated. So what I have done for the local structure, I created a table type which contains some which holds some multiple line item data like internal table and all those things. Okay. Now if you see here, it's activated. Now I'll activate it. Okay.
Here, form line is 219 is the subroutine. Where is the routine?
19 to 227, we will call this as a subroutine. For this one,
Okay.
just need to double click on it.
Okay, this is subroutine, but where is the routine?
Here it is. At the top.
Okay, 59. 59 is the routine. What you call? Perform.
Subroutine. Wait. Here is a subroutine at the end. Okay.
Okay, can you show the 59 line?
Yeah, here it is.
Okay, perform F get VBAC
This
tables.
is something which
Can
we
you explain
declare by
this? What
ourselves.
is that?
This is something which we declare by ourselves. We can give any name. But for me, local declaration sometimes, right? I will follow certain naming conventions. This is a certain naming convention, which this one you can give it anything, get VBAK, get or something like that. Okay. Similar to the
Naming
table.
convention for which one to naming convention?
Naming convention and all those things we will discuss later because that comes under the real development cycle. For now,
Okay.
think this is something which you can decide by yourself and keep it. Not only this one, I keep some other name also.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you see here, I just put a breakpoint here and I'll execute for 1, 2, execute. Okay, go inside this one, paste the data. Here it is. Come out. You see here. You see the same data which we can access directly. What I did, I created a subroutine. I created a subroutine or routines. I created some routines so that I can access it to a different set of code which will increase my readability. Okay. Similar
Okay.
to tables, there are other syntaxes also. Let's say if you have to access only the, I'll show you this text. Now I'll comment out. Let's say I'll activate this, the parameters part. Okay. What I will do here, since I've activated the parameters, so what's my expectation will be? I want it in a structure instead of a table. I want it in a structure, single work area structure. Okay.
Okay.
That I'll, we cannot have two same names again. I need to change the name again. If you see here, now, since I'm going to work on a structure, okay. For the select option, this is the one. Now I'm going to work on a parameter and fetch the data into a work area. For that purpose, for tables, I declared the tables, but for work area, that means we'll have only single line item value. It's not instead of multiple line items, we'll have a single line item value. Okay. Instead of
Okay.
multiple line items, we will have a single line item value. Okay. So for that
Mm-hmm.
purpose, what we will do? We need VBAK. We need this one, VBAK. We will update directly on this one. Instead of tables, we will be directly using, or instead of using, we'll say changing. We'll change the structure data, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
instead of ID underscore VBAK, we'll just change the single value. Okay.
Okay.
Now it's not there. I'll again double click on it, click on save, save. It will ask me, I'll select this one, I can click on save. It's there here. So what I will do? Instead of this select query, I'll pick this select. So remember, I'll show you one thing. We will get one error. This is a global declaration, right? So we didn't get the error, but it's okay. So what I will do, let's do global declaration. That's so in that I have to show you something. Okay. But anyhow, I'll show you that one also. But you saw this, right? Instead of tables, I have used the work area directly. And now I used a different syntax. If we previously I tried to I am uploading the table, so I uploaded the tables, but this time I'm trying to upload this, modify this particular structure, assign the data to this particular structure. So I use the changing one. There will be another syntax also. I'll tell you. Let it be like this. Okay. Let's do one thing. We'll okay. I'll create one more process. Okay. So what we will do? This will be one more syntax. Perform f underscore get underscore pbak underscore. We will use a different name using. Okay, using we can use the parameter which we have declared in this one and changing VBAK. Okay, we again double click on it. There are many different syntaxes for these routines and subroutines. Okay, these are all something which is standardized generated. Okay, there are many syntaxes. Okay, for now, this will be type VBAK VBL. Okay. Okay. We can do a syntax check also if you want. It will show. I told you right previous. Needs syntax as well. Okay. If you see here, what I'm trying to do in this case, or see, there are three different scenarios for us. Okay. What I'm trying to do in this case, for me, this particular thing in this particular scenario, I'm trying to update the standard table. Sorry, I'm trying to insert the data into a custom internal table through this subroutine. Okay. This is one case.
Sorry, what is the scenario? First scenario?
First scenario is insert the data inside a custom internal table directly. This one.
Okay.
Second scenario is insert the data into a custom structure. W underscore VBAK.
Okay.
Okay. Third scenario is in both these cases, this particular S underscore VBLN and this particular P underscore VBLN are global. Global means not across the system, but for this report. Okay.
Okay.
This report, this S underscore VBLN and P underscore VBLN are global. Okay. Now I'll tell you why I'm telling global, local on this, why I'm specifying those points. I'll show you why. Okay. Let's say this is a thing. Here, global. Okay. Now I'll show you one more technique. Okay.
Okay.
We can call one subroutine from another subroutine. Got it? We can call one subroutine from another subroutine. I'll comment out this one for now. I'll comment out this one for now. Okay. And this is there, right? What I'll do, I'll cut paste this one. I'll paste it inside this one. Okay. Sorry. I'll paste it inside this one. Now, instead of this work area, I'll declare one more work area inside this one. This subroutine, the first subroutine which we created for the tables. Okay. Now, instead of this changing, I'll give this changing. I'll activate it. You won't get any error. Okay. You won't get any error.
Okay.
So what we have done, so So you won't get any error. Okay. So what we have done, we declared some local work area. The work area which you see at the top is a global work area for this report. But these subroutines, what they are doing is that, let's say, simple example, these subroutines are creating a separate blocks, small blocks inside your, let's say, you are living in a gated community. Okay. You are living in a very big gated community and everyone is having an individual house. Okay. Now, builder build individual house. Okay. Now, whatever electronic equipment or furniture available in the all the villas, will it be same or will it be as per the customer requirement, or what they will get the interiors done, right? So it will differ from house to house, how the interior looks. It differ from what all equipments are there. It different from block to block. Let's say instead of house to house, I'll say no, block to block. It will differ from the block to block. Okay. So now what I'm doing in this whole big set of community, I'm creating small blocks and I'm playing with these small blocks only because I want to modularize the code. I'm creating small blocks to play with these blocks. Okay. So this is one such block, which is a global block. Okay. This is one such block, not a global block. This is one such block which will act as a holder for all the further blocks. Got it? That means this is like a clubhouse which acts as a recreational hall for all the other blocks. That means all the other villas. Okay. So what I'm doing in this one, this particular header block, not say header block, but this main subroutine, I'm calling this routine. Okay. And I declared one local work area. That means this is the furniture inside your house, not something which is available. Let's say whatever is placed outside is a public property. Whatever is placed outside is the public property. Public property means simple thing. Whatever is placed outside is a global thing which is available only for this report. This report is nothing but your gated community. This is the clubhouse bench and all those things. This is our public property which can be used by everyone. Now, whatever you declare inside this particular small block, it's a local. That means this is something same as your own furniture or something which will be accessible for you or your guests, but it's not accessible for each and every Tom, Dick and Harry. Okay. So this is a local block. That is a global block which is accessible across the report, but this is a local block which is accessible only inside this block. Okay. I'll tell you why. Now you see the declaration. Before I do the change, I'll show you. Remember this. Do you remember this work area?
It's a global.
Now, this work area is declared locally. What will happen? See, it threw an error saying that this work area is not known. That means I declared this local work area inside a different block, but I am trying to access the same work area directly inside another block, directly inside another block. So it's not allowing me to do that, right? Not here, sorry. Here, it's not allowing me to do that because this particular block, this particular piece of declaration is only for this particular, house. House means only for this particular block. This local declaration can be used directly in this block. Okay. Now, let's say in case if you want to use this particular local area inside a different block, I kept it in the changing parameter. Okay. First, I want to change this data. That's why I kept it in the changing matter. If I don't want to change the data, I can simply keep it in the using parameters. Okay.
Okay.
Here it is. I commented out the using, right? I don't want to change this one. I want to change only this one. So kept it in the using parameter. There are multiple declarations, different types of declarations for these routines and subroutines. Just go through that. Okay. Now, if you see here, I want to access this data inside another block. Okay. That means I'll keep, so what I'll do, I'll create one more subroutine, which is which will be called inside this one. So we will use this local as a reference in the subroutine. You see, okay. Once we do that, properties related to this particular properties related to this particular local declaration will be available inside this one. See, this is the one. So here, this is a changing part. Okay.
Okay.
That above changing is there, right? This changing. This created a reference for the using this changing in this subroutine. Sorry. Now both this one. Now both have the same properties or the same reference, the same structure available as a reference. Okay. So instead of modifying this particular local work area directly, what I will do is that I will try to update this data back to this one. Okay. That means instead of directly updating the local work area, okay, that means what I did, let's say this is one villa flat and this is a guest house for your flat villa. Okay. Let's say there are some security person or some certain maids in the outhouse. So in case, what will you do in case if you want to hand over something to the security person, what you will do? Either you will call them to your house and hand it over directly. Otherwise, you'll do, maybe you will go directly and hand it over to the security person or something like that, right? So similarly, no, that is not the right example exactly. But I think you should be getting right. What we are trying to do, let's say if you want to give your Wi-Fi password access to someone, in my most of the cases, I won't give directly, but in case if you have to give an access to someone, you'll just give a temporary access or something like that. Okay. Similarly, what we are doing, we are creating a reference for this local inside your house. That means you are creating simple. Let's say if you have to hand over your Aadhaar card to someone, what you will do, you will not give the original Aadhaar card, right? You will take a Xerox and give it to someone else, right? So what you have done, you have taken this reference is nothing but creating a Xerox kind of thing and accessing that Xerox wherever you want, and modifying it and playing it as well. So in case if they have to write something or update something or just post something, they'll just write on that the Xerox copy, and that will be sent back to you where you can play with it. Got it? So
Okay.
this will be the local. Now we got it right. W_VBAK is a global one, which is declared at the top, and that's why it's available across the object. Okay, available across this report. Now, this L_W_VBAK is something which is declared in this local subroutine, and which will be used only on this block. Now, funny thing is that you cannot use this outside this block also. If I try to use it again, I'll get an error. Okay.
Okay.
I'll show you. Let's say if I want to assign the data like this. Syntax X, we'll get an error. See. Sorry, save now. I have to save it. Now I'll do what happened? See, this is unknown. It didn't throw an error on this one. It's what is, if you read this message, you will find it out clearly. The field, this is unknown, but there is a field with similar name W_VBAK. That means it can access this global structure, so global declaration, but it cannot access the local declaration, which is created inside another block. Okay.
Okay.
Now you got it. What is the role of a global? What is the role of a local and all those things? Now subroutines and routines. Okay. Now I gave you one example of a subroutine, right? Where we will use this for beautification. Simple terms.
Sir, can you show what is the output for this?
Same output you will get. Same output you will get.
Same output. Okay.
Because I didn't modify anything, right?
Hmm.
I didn't modify anything too much.
No, you choose routines and subroutines, right? What is the What is the output it came?
I'll just debug for you and give it to you. I don't need this subroutine right now. You want to check this one also? Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
I'll show you. Put a breakpoint here. Execute it. Put it one here. And pull it. Execute it. I'll go inside this one. See here we got this data, internal table data, right? Now what I'm doing, I'm going inside this one. I'll get the work area data. But if you see, this clear difference is there, right? Previously this got populated, but once you went inside this one, this got it didn't show any data related to this one. You saw this, right? Because this is a local for this subroutine. It's not available in the other subroutine. That's why whenever you're trying to access this one, it does not exist. But once you come back, you see here, you are able to see this data, right? See here. We have two entries and I'm able to access this local work area also. That means this particular thing is for this one, the select query. This particular thing is this particular local declaration structure is for this particular subroutine. Okay, you got two different data. Now, if you come back here, I have the data in this one. Okay, I have the data in this one. Two entries. Okay, it won't throw any errors. You can simply execute it. See, you got the result. You saw it?
Okay.
I'll give you a step-by-step demo. I'll give you a worksheet tomorrow after tomorrow's session. If you have to practice these routines, subroutines, I'll give you certain example. I'll give you my expectations also. Okay.
Okay.
You got an idea of routines and subroutines?
Yeah.
I know it will be a little bit confusing, but the reason why I explained to you is so that you will get an idea and you can practice it. Now, okay. I told you about one use of these routines and subroutines. One use which I told you is regarding the beautification of the program and presenting it to the some other person who can review it and understand it easily. Okay. For that purpose, we will create subroutines. But there is another scenario, very important scenario, where we will use the subroutines. Okay. That scenario is, let's say, if you are writing some big code, okay, very big code. In that code, sometimes you need to create a repetitive block. Repetitive block means, you know, BAPIs, right? Or
Yeah, I
function
heard.
standard BAPIs or function models, you know that, right?
I heard.
So some data, let's say, if we have to access some data, let's forget about the BAPIs, but let's say about some function model. We have some function models for dates, some function models for something. Now, let's say, if we have to access those function modules, I'll go to the notepad. Okay. Let's say you're writing a blocks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These many lines of code you are writing, okay? Like this, something like that. Just this represents the number of lines of code you are writing, but don't go with this particular thing, okay? Okay. Let's say this is our block of code, which is, let's say, 1,000 lines of code. Now you need to access certain data at the point line number 3. That means you need to call that fm. Okay. Call that fm, whatever we discussed. Okay. Similarly, there might be a case again where you have to call that fm at this place also. Okay. Similarly, we need to call a same fm. In this case, let's say all these scenarios are for the same function module. Okay. FM is for function module, same function module. Okay. Now, what happens? Let's say again, this block of code is of around 1 to, let's say, no, not 1, minimum, at least, let's say 40 to 50 lines of code. That means this calling this FM, we cannot do that directly. I'll tell you next tomorrow session, I'll show you how to work on the function model. But calling this FM directly, we cannot simply call the FM and say, okay, it should work on all those things. Okay. For that purpose, I'll show you. Example, here also we have one function model, very critical function model. You see this function model, right? Where we are using the reuse LV grid display. This is also a function model. Okay. For example, this is on a function model. Simply, I cannot simply, let's say, call this function model and say, okay, work, it should work for me, right? It will not work because you need to give it certain data through which it can perform the activities it is supposed to do. Reuse ALV grid display is something which we are using to display the output, but for that purpose, it needs the program ID. It needs the structure. We discussed, right? What is this field cat order and all those things? This is the column structure. It needs the column structure. It needs the output. Okay. For all this purpose, let's say how many lines of code you wrote here. If you see here, there are close to, let's say 30 lines. Okay. This whole block is of 30 lines of code. Okay. Now let's say 30 lines. 30 lines. 30 lines. So previously we have how many lines of code? 10 lines of code. But because of these 30 lines, how much it became? 10 plus 30, 30, 60 and 90. It's become 190 lines of code. But if you observe here, we are repeating this code every time. Okay. To avoid that one, we can use the subroutines concept, which I mentioned to you previously. And what we can do is, I can simply place this perform f underscore this underscore here. Okay. In this one. Now what I will do, instead of calling this particular, instead of triggering this whole block of code again and again, what I will do whenever my requirement arises where I have to use the same block, instead of that whole code, I will use only this one, this perform, which is a one line item. Okay. That means what will happen with your code? This particular block will be separated from this one. This whole things will be separated from this particular thing. And instead of calling the whole thing again, I'll simply call the perform. So I told you, right? Previously, how many lines of code are there? 190 lines of code because of 30, 30, 30, 190. But here now, how many lines are there? We have these 30, but instead of 190, we have how many? 33 or 34 lines. Okay. That is not, this concept is called reuse objects. This concept is called reusing the existing one in an optimal way so that we can avoid the redundancy in the code which we are writing. Redundancy means repeating the same block of code again and again and making the existing code more complex. That is called redundancy. Okay. To avoid that one, what we will do, certain things are like declare one subroutine for the same common block of code and use it wherever we want. Got it, right?
Yeah.
Simple thing. Let's say if you go to any government office, made particular in India, they will put on a stamp, right? Government stamp, which has 3 lines and all those things. They will have this hard stamp in their hand. They'll put on a stamp. Okay. So that they'll simply give it back to you, the document, once the stamping is done. It's not like whenever you go to government office, They will not create a new stamp then and there itself, where it will take 1 or 2 days time, and after that they will put a stamp. No, they will have a stamp ready with them. As soon as you go and everything is approved, they will just stamp the document and give you back the document. That means this is also something like that only. For our object which we are declaring, we are creating one stamp, readily available stamp, which we feel can be used in multiple places in that report, and we will start using that particular block everywhere, wherever we want in that report. Got it?
Okay.
Anything else? Any doubts regarding the subroutines? And this is called RR objects or reuse objects, something like that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
ఇప్పుడు అర్థమైందా మీకు
Reuse objects. Reuse objects, right?
రీయూజ్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్. రీయూజ్ అంటే సింపుల్ థింగ్ అండి. మనం ఒక్కసారే క్రియేట్ చేస్తాము ఈ పర్టికులర్ లెవెల్లో. ఈ పర్టికులర్ రిపోర్ట్ లెవెల్లో ఒకే ఒక సబ్ రూటీన్ క్రియేట్ చేస్తాము ఈ పర్టికులర్ ఫంక్షన్ మోడల్ని కాల్ చేయడానికి. మనకి ఎప్పుడైతే రిక్వైర్మెంట్ వస్తుందో దాన్ని మనం ఇన్స్టెడ్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ హోల్ calling this whole function model, this whole code of block again, will simply call that routine.
Okay.
ఓకేనా?
Mm-hmm.
సిమిలర్లీ ఇది మనం ఏం చేసాం రిపోర్ట్ లెవెల్లో మనం చేసాం. అంటే మనకి ఇప్పుడు ఈ సబ్ రూటీన్ ఏదైతే క్రియేట్ చేశానో నాకు ఈ రిపోర్ట్లోనే యూజ్ అయింది. రిపోర్ట్ బయట నాకు ఈ సబ్ రూటీన్ అనేది యూజ్ అవ్వదు. అంటే ఇప్పుడు సపోజ్ మనకు 2-3 రిపోర్ట్స్ క్రియేట్ చేశానండి. లెట్స్ సే 2-3 రిపోర్ట్స్ క్రియేట్ చేశాను. ఈ రిపోర్ట్లో ఉంది. ఓకే, ఇది ఉంది లెక్క వస్తుంది. ఓకే, ఈ రిపోర్ట్ ఉందండి. ఇప్పుడు నేను ఏం చేస్తాను, పర్ఫామ్ డిస్ అండర్స్కోర్ వేయాలి. నా పాత రిపోర్ట్ క్రియేట్ చేసింది. ఓకే, యాక్టివేట్ చేస్తా. ఎందుకు లేదండి, యాక్సెస్ లేదు కదా. అక్కడ క్రియేట్ చేసింది మనకి ఇక్కడ యాక్సెస్ ఉండదు. వాట్ ఎవర్ వి క్రియేటెడ్ ఇన్ ఎ డిఫరెంట్ other object will not be available in this object. That means whatever declarations we have done in the other object will not be available or will not be able to access in the next object, because there is no direct correlation between this report and that report. Got it,
Okay.
right? Now, but
అదే redundancy మీరు చెప్పింది.
redundancy అనేది అది కాదు. redundancy అనేది ఇప్పుడు చెప్తాను. ఇది చూసారా, ఇప్పుడు నేను ఏం చేయొచ్చు అండి, దీన్ని లెట్స్ సే redundancy అంటే మీకు ఎలా చెప్పాలి, లైవ్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్.
అంటే ఒక సినారియో చెప్పండి, ఆ సినారియోలో ఎక్కడ వాడతారు?
ఎగ్జాక్ట్ గా మీకు అర్థమయ్యేటట్టు చెప్పాలంటే ఎలా చెప్పాలని ఆలోచిస్తున్నాం. ఒకసారి redundancy అంటే
ఒక పర్చేజ్ ఆర్డర్, ఒక ఇన్బౌండ్ ప్రాసెస్ లోనే చెప్పండి, మనం ఎక్కడ వాడతారు అనేది.
ఇన్బౌండ్ ప్రాసెస్ లోనే చెప్తాము, బట్ ఐ హ్యావ్ టు గివ్ యూ సమ్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్. జస్ట్ థింకింగ్ ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ వాట్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్, సో దట్ యూ విల్ గెట్ ఎ పిక్చర్ what I'm going to explain to you. Just a wait. Okay, let's say you are living in a gated community. There might be a scenarios where you need to hand over certain old goods, like maybe clothes or utensils, come to the maid or some kind of security guy, saying that I don't need these things, you take them out. But according to the rules, gate security will not allow that person to carry the goods without any letter from the owner. Okay?
Okay.
Any letter from the owner. No, this is not the correct example. Okay, leave it. You need to pass on some pamphlets. You are doing some kind of activity. You need to pass on some pamphlets. Okay? Now, my question is that first pamphlet, you will make sure that you are doing it manually. First pamphlet, you will make sure that you are doing manually in the system. So it will take maybe half an hour or 1 hour for you to get that pamphlet ready. You will take a printout of that one, that pamphlet, and give it to the person. Now, my question is that whenever a requirement arises for you, let's say there are like 1,000 people available. So will you start designing the pamphlet for all the 1,000 people individually? Got my point, right? There you have designed one pamphlet, just one pamphlet. See, I'll give you a proper requirement. Let's say you have some activities going on in your society. You need to pass on. You have to create. You need to give 1,000 pamphlets to the residents saying that this activity is going on. Please attend my activity. Okay. My question is that the first pamphlet, what you will do? The design is not there, the activity design is not. So what you will do, you'll go to the net system and you will think about what kind of pamphlet I need to get it ready. So what you will do, you will just open the system and you'll start designing the pamphlets, right? With so and so function is going on, with so and so time and all those things. So one pamphlet is ready, it took 1 hour for you. So what you will do, you'll take this pamphlet and you will hand it out to one person. You'll come back, you'll start preparing the second pamphlet. Okay, I prepared the second pamphlet, second. You'll go to the second person and you'll do you will hand it out to the second person, you'll come back and you'll start preparing the third part. Like that, you will create 1,000 pamphlets. Okay? Like that, you will create 1,000 pamphlets. Now, this scenario which I explained to you, can you tell me what is wrong in the scenario which I explained to you right now? అర్థమైందని చెప్పింది మీకు? అర్థం కాలేదు, మళ్ళీ చెప్పిన తెలుగు చెప్తా.
చెప్పండి అంటే లాస్ట్ లో
ఏం లేదండి, సింపుల్ థింగ్. వి హ్యావ్ వన్ పాంప్లెట్. ఒక పాంప్లెట్, ఇప్పుడు సపోజ్ ఒక ఈవెంట్ జరుగుతుంది. ఈవెంట్ కి మీరు ఒక గ్రీటింగ్ కార్డ్ లాంటిది లేకపోతే ఇన్విటేషన్ కార్డ్ లాంటిది తయారు చేయాలి. ఓకే, మీరేం చేస్తారు? సిస్టంలో కూర్చుంటారు, ఒక ఇన్విటేషన్ కార్డ్ తయారు చేస్తారు. 1 గంట పట్టింది మీకు ఆ ఇన్విటేషన్ కార్డ్ తయారు చేయడానికి. ఓకేనా? మీరేం చేస్తారు? ఆ ఇన్విటేషన్ కార్డ్ ప్రింట్అవుట్ తీసుకెళ్తారు. వెళ్ళేసి మీరేం చేస్తారు? మీ ఇంటి పక్కన ఉన్న ఒక పర్సన్కి ఇస్తారు. సరే, మళ్ళీ తిరిగి వస్తారు, మళ్ళీ స్క్రాచ్ నుంచి మళ్ళీ ఇంకో గంట సేపు కూర్చొని ఇంక ఇన్విటేషన్ కార్డ్ తయారు చేస్తారు. సో మళ్ళీ ఏం చేస్తారు? మీరు ఆ ఇన్విటేషన్ కార్డ్ తీసుకొని రెండో పర్సన్కి ఇస్తారు. మళ్ళీ వెనక్కి వస్తారు, ఇంకో ఇన్విటేషన్ కార్డ్ మళ్ళీ స్క్రాచ్ నుంచి 1 గంట సేపు తయారు చేస్తారు. మళ్ళీ మీరు ఏం చేస్తారు? థర్డ్ పర్సన్కి ఇస్తారు. నేను ఇప్పుడు చెప్పిన సినారియోలో అలాగే మీరు 1000 మందికి చేస్తారు. ఇప్పుడు నా క్వశ్చన్, నేను చెప్పిన సినారియోలో మీకు ఎక్కడ తప్పు అనిపించింది, ఎక్కడ బెటర్గా చేయొచ్చు చెప్పండి.
అంటే ఒక్కొక్కసారి ఒక్కొక్క పర్సన్ కి ప్రింట్ చేసి ఇవ్వడం అనేది
స్క్రాచ్ నుంచి ప్రిపేర్ చేయటం కూడా అని చెప్పాను మీకు.
స్క్రాచ్
స్క్రాచ్ నుంచి కూడా మీరు ప్రిపేర్ చేస్తున్నారు, ఒక్కొక్క పర్సన్ కి స్క్రాచ్ నుంచి ప్రిపేర్ చేస్తున్నారు. ఇప్పుడు నేను చెప్పిన సినారియోలో ఏం తప్పు ఉంది, అది ఏది బెటర్ గా చేయొచ్చు చెప్పండి.
అంటే ఒక టెంప్లెట్ ని మనం 1000 టైమ్స్ ఎంతమంది కావాలో అంతమంది చేసేది సింపుల్ అవుతుంది. స్క్రాచ్ నుంచి చేయడం అనేది
ఒకసారి చేస్తారు, ఒకసారి చేసిన తర్వాత ఏం చేస్తారు మీరు?
ఒకసారి చేసిన తర్వాత అక్కడే మిస్టేక్ ఉంది. దాన్ని మళ్ళీ 1000 టైమ్స్ చేయడం అనేది మిస్టేక్ అది.
సో దాన్ని కరెక్ట్ గా మీరు ఇప్పుడు ఏం చేస్తారు? ఇప్పుడు కరెక్ట్, ఇప్పుడు ఓకే, దానికి కరెక్ట్
లేదంటే ఒకేసారి కూర్చొని అంటే స్క్రాచ్ నుంచి చేసేది కాకుండా
ఏం చేస్తారు మీరు? ఒకే ఒకటి
టెంప్లెట్
తయారు
అనేది
చేసి
యూజ్ చేస్తాం.
ఒకే ఒకటి తయారు చేసి దాన్ని 100
దాన్ని
ప్రింట్లు కొడతారు.
అవును.
ఒకే ఒకటి తయారు చేసి 100 కాదు 1000 ఎన్ని ప్రింట్లు కావాలో అన్ని ప్రింట్లు కొట్టుకుంటారు. అంటే మీరు ఏం చేస్తున్నారు? స్క్రాచ్ నుంచి చేయట్లా, తెలుగు ఒక్కటే తయారు చేశారు. దాన్ని ఎన్ని ప్రింట్లు కావాలంటే అన్ని ప్రింట్లు కొట్టుకుంటారు. సిమిలర్లీ ఫర్ అవర్ పర్పస్ ఆల్సో ద కోడ్ ఈజ్ ఆల్సో సంథింగ్ లైక్ దట్ ఓన్లీ. We will not repeat this code again and again wherever is the requirement is there in this particular object. Let's say not only this code, that means this is like a pamphlet. This is like an invitation card. Okay, this block is like an invitation card. You will not copy the block content every time whenever the requirement arises in this report. That means you will not repeat the same content again and again, do it manually. So what you have done, you have created only one invitation card, which is this one. Okay, You created only
Okay.
one invitation card, which is this one. And invitation card name is this one, like this. Let's say if you go to the system, if you see the file name here, if you see the file name, which is 2754/2024. Okay. Similarly, this perform underscore display LB is a file name kind of thing. Okay. And the content inside that one, consent inside that one is your invitation content. Okay. So what you will do, you will use this file name, to print. That means you will use this particular routine name to reuse it wherever you want, but not the content. Got it? We will
Okay.
not reuse the content. We will reuse only the routine which is already created. That means we will reuse the file with the file name, but not the content. That means we'll just print using this file name, but not the contents inside this one. Got it?
Yeah.
ఇప్పుడు అర్థమైంది, క్లారిటీ వచ్చింది మీకు?
Mm.
యూజ్ అంటే ఎందుకు? Redundancy అని మీరు అన్నారు కదా, you asked me that what is redundancy. So repeating the same thing, let's similar to the previous scenario where I asked you, where I mentioned to you that you need to design the invitation card for 1,000 people each and every time when you come back. Like you will hand over one card, you will come back, you will start designing for one more, or you will hand it over to the second person. So you are asking that what is the redundancy? This is the redundancy. Doing the repetitive work when you have a smart work available. The smart work is nothing but taking a printout, but ignoring that one and doing the same repetitive work again and again and wasting your time. You wasted 1 hour of your time, but if you have to do the same thing for 1,000 people, it will take 1,000 hours. Okay, so you will not do that. What you will do, you spend 1 hour, you got the invitation card ready with the content available in it, you took the printout and handed it out to 1,000 people. So I spent my time to design this subroutine so that it can be used across the report as and when it's required. Got it?
Okay.
Instead of repeating the whole block, I'll just repeat this one line.
Okay. Got it. Yeah.
ఎందుకంటే ఇప్పుడు మీకు చెప్తాను నేను ఇంకా క్లియర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇస్తాను. లెట్స్ సే this whole block is there, right? Now if you see here, you won't find anything bad or something like that. It's just only once. Okay,
Okay.
now because of a requirement, what you will do, 1 2 3 4 5 6. If you see here, the same thing again and again you're doing, right?
Yeah, it's a coding also looks very lengthy.
It becomes irritating to read the same thing again and again.
Yeah.
Got it, right? This is a small code, that's why you don't find much improvement. But if it's when you are writing big volumes of data, right, then you will see the improvement. So what I will do, instead of calling that block again and again, I'll do this. See, you see the difference? That looks irritating. This looks neat and good actually. And we will clearly know that we are calling this block again in this particular place. That means if you have some code over here, some code like this. Again, there's some code. See, like this. That means when I'm going through your report to review, I'll understand, okay, in this condition, you call this block. Okay, next condition, you call this block again. That means you want to repeat this process for this condition also. Okay. Tomorrow morning, tomorrow session, I'll show you how to create a function module and I'll explain you how that function module works. Then you will have a clear picture, more clarity on how the subroutines. We discussed about subroutines at the object. We discussed about a global and local in this particular object level, right? Which I showed you. Like I'm not able to access this anywhere outside my. I'm not able to access this routine anywhere outside my report. That means I was not able to access. I'm not able to access this one outside my loop, outside by this object. Okay. Because you throw an error. Now, tomorrow we'll discuss how to access this kind of thing in, VBAK, you know that VBAK structure, right? The standard one, which is accessible across all the custom objects which we are creating, because that is the standard one which SAP has provided. But tomorrow, what we will do is that we'll create a custom one which can be accessed across the system. Got it, right? We'll create a custom function module which will be accessed across the system. Similar to this one, because there might be certain scenarios. Let's say I want to, okay, this logic is there, right? The logic which we discussed, header and item logic. There might be a business requirement where they might create 4 ISFIDs. That means 4 different requirements. But for the 4 requirement, you have the same logic. That means you need to fetch the VBAK data, VBAP data for all the 4 requirements. But 4 are different objects. So again, we will talk about the redundancy. 4 are different objects. So what is your approach? Again, we'll start fetching VBAP data, VBAK data, and we'll start using that particular same piece of code in all the 4 different objects. Got it, right? You will use the same piece of code in all the 4 different objects. Okay? That is also a redundancy. That is also one kind of redundancy, but we can avoid that redundancy. That is by creating a function module, custom function module, which can be accessed globally across any kind of object. That means we are creating something custom, which will be available for the custom reports for us to play with it. Like similar to VBAK, we are creating something custom, which can be available across all the other objects. Got it? That means I'm creating a global routine and subroutine. Instead of local like this, I'm creating a global one which can be used across the objects. No need of any restrictions like right now which we have. అర్థమైందా? హలో భార్గవి గారు, భార్గవి గారు, you are on. I'm not able to hear you. హలో హలో భార్గవి.
Yeah, yeah, sorry.
Sorry, I'm not able to hear you. I'm trying to reach out to you.
Hello?
Sorry. I tried అర్థమైందా మీకు ఫంక్షన్ మోడల్ గురించి బేసిక్ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేసింది?
Sorry?
ఫంక్షన్ మోడల్ గురించి ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేశా కదా ఇప్పుడు. అంటే ఫంక్షన్ మోడల్స్ అంటే ఏంటి బేసిక్గా అండర్స్టాండింగ్ ఇచ్చాను. రేపు క్లియర్గా ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తాను. బట్ బేసిక్ అండర్స్టాండింగ్ వచ్చిందా మీకు?
సారీ నేను మిస్ అయ్యాను. కొంచెం
మిస్
మధ్య
అయ్యారు.
ఫంక్షన్ మాట మిస్ అయ్యాను.
షేర్
మళ్ళీ వస్తాను.
మళ్ళీ షేర్ చేస్తానండి. ఇప్పుడు మనం ఏంటంటే we discussed about this local declarations, right?
Yeah.
This is a local subroutine. Local subroutine means accessible only in this custom report. Okay.
Mhm.
But there will be scenarios. ఇప్పుడు సింపుల్ థింగ్ అండి, మీకు ఒక రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఇస్తా. మీరు ఒక బిజినెస్ అనుకోండి, మీకు బిజినెస్ ఇచ్చే క్లయింట్ అనుకోండి, మీకు ఒక క్లయింట్ రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఇస్తా. నాకు 4 ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ కావాలి. ఇది ఒక ఆబ్జెక్ట్. ఇలాగే నాకు 2, 3, 4 అని చెప్పి ఒక ఆబ్జెక్ట్ 4 ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ కావాలి. For
Okay.
those four objects, I need to have the same sales order header and sales order item picking.
Mhm.
That means, but the content, like whatever expectation is there for the 4 objects, right, that will differ. That means for one object, I need an LV report output. For one object, I need a form print. For one object, I need an IDOC. There will be 4 different kind of requirements. But for all the 4 objects, you have only one common thing, which is the data, which is the data from VBAK and VBAP. అంటే మీకు ఎన్ని 4 ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ కి VBAK VBAP బేస్ చేసుకొని క్వెరీ ఉండాలి.
Okay.
ఇప్పుడు నాకేంటి, ఇందా మనం మాట్లాడాలని చూసారా, ఒకటే కోడ్ ని రిపీట్ చేసుకుంటూ వెళ్తే మనకి రిడబిలిటీ ఉండదు, రిడెండెన్సీ వస్తుంది. సిమిలర్ గా మనకి తెలిసినప్పుడు ఏమని, ఇదే బ్లాక్ VBAK VBAP రిలేటెడ్ డేటానే నాకు ఆ 4 రిపోర్ట్లోనూ కావాలి అని చెప్పి మనం ఏం చేస్తాం, ఇదే అక్కడ కాపీ పేస్ట్ కొడతాం, మళ్ళీ అక్కడ కూడా రిడెండెన్సీ వస్తుంది. దాని బదులు నేనేం చేస్తాను, నన్ను 4 నాకు కావాలి ఇది. సో నేనేం చేస్తానంటే ఒక ఫంక్షన్ మోడల్ క్రియేట్ చేసుకుంటాను, కస్టమ్ ఫంక్షన్ మోడల్. That will work as the global routine subroutine part for the objects which can be used across the different objects. అర్థమైందా?
Yeah.
What I will do is that I'll create a function model which I will use across the 4 different objects which I gave you, which will contain this whole set of data.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
So I will access this data only. I'll just call that function model with the required input parameters. It will give you the result. No need to write the same logic again and again.
Okay.
That is for the global part. Okay. Tomorrow
Yeah.
I'll give you a clear explanation exactly how that function model works, what is the difference between this one and that one. Okay.
Sure.
So with tomorrow's session, we'll try to complete these basics. Next session, I'll give you an example on the module. I'll start on module pool. Module pool or the dialog program is something which you need and which is helpful for you in your RF applications. That means EWM.
Okay.
That is a that will be very helpful for you actually.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Class will be 1.5 hour or 2 hours?
Huh?
1.5 hour, 2 hours class.
He told 1.5 hour till 10. Maybe having another session around 10.
Okay. Weekends 1.5 hour.
No, tomorrow also we have one more session, right?
Yeah. Today 1.5 hour. Tomorrow 1.5 hour.
Tomorrow I don't know, because depending on the sessions availability, I can take 2 hours also. No issue for me.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. But don't worry, I'll cover the topics for you. I'll give you tomorrow after this session. After the session, I'll give you a worksheet for this one also. You make
Okay.
sure that you are working on that one by get ready by this one. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.